Jacob in California. You're on with Dan and Matt. How are you?
Cool, doing good. How about you guys?
Doing all right.
Good.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, I'll just get right to it. I know that we've gone a long time on the show already, so thanks for taking the call. But yeah, so I had this theory that I've been working on. I will say with God's guidance. I know that's not a popular phrase around here. However, as I'm reading the Bible, I actually. Oh, and Matt, I will say one thing to you. You made a comment a long time ago, quite a few times, and when I was a Trinitarian still, it actually was one of the things that made me go like, wow, that's a really good point. I don't know how to get around that. You said God sacrificed himself to appease himself, and that stuck with me, and I was like, man, that is a good point. I don't know how to get around that. So I came to the knowledge through the Bible, though, that I actually don't hold to the Trinitarian view anymore because I don't think it's coherent.
I'm curious. I'm curious, and I'll let you your point. Just for clarity, are you suggesting then that you think the Joan and comma is an interpolation and addition?
Do I think that what is? I'm sorry.
The Joan comma, the passage that was generally scholars think that this was edited to make an excuse for the Trinity, and that the original versions don't include that passage. Just go on with your point. It's not going to be. It's not going to be relevant today.
I would address it. Whatever you were talking about. Yeah, I know there's one passage in 1 John that I do believe was added in later on. That there are three that bear record in heaven.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
Father. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do believe that was added in later. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, my point though was just that as I've been studying the Torah, because I am a Torah-observant Christian, to the best of my ability, some things are applicable, some are not. That's just the theological fact of it. It's not cherry picking. However, I do think a lot of the laws in the Old Testament would fix, or at least take a step towards fixing some of the societal problems we see today. And the one example I wanted to bring up, So the one example I wanted to bring up was fatherless households or single parent rates, how they have just absolutely skyrocketed in the last, 20, 30 years, depending on the statistics you go to, right? It was 20%.
Can I ask you, I know you've been thinking about this and you've been wanting to tell Matt, but can I ask you a quick question?
All good, man.
Do you think that all the laws in the Old Testament, all of those ideas, do you think they're all good for society today?
I don't think some are applicable today. So it's not even a matter of if I think they're good for society or not. I don't think some are applicable, but I think the ones that are, certainly would.
Okay, so
I'd be glad to address any of them that you guys want. Yeah.
If some are applicable, right, and some aren't, then why not just base a society on what's applicable and just take that? Why do we have to include the entire Torah into our consideration? Why?
Well, I mean, you have to know it, because then you can say whether or not it's applicable or not. You see what I mean?
Do we have to know the Torah to know if it's applicable or not? Can we just look at the idea itself and say, hey, this is a good thing to implement into our society?
Okay, I think the slight disconnect here might be that I'm saying it's applicable based on theology, and you might be saying applicable based on like society. Is that correct? I don't want to put words.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. But like, do we need a theological explanation to know whether something is good for us or not?
I think it's the only way you can get a real understanding of what's in there. Because if you have bad theology, you're going to come up with bad conclusions. I mean, there's denominations of Christianity that prove that.
What if you have no theology?
Yeah.
What if you're like us?
Yeah, if you have no theology, you can go back and actually look at like the common dooms. The dooms of the common law back in the colonial days, of America, and you can see that they were actually word for word almost with the Ten Commandments. They didn't call them the Ten Commandments though, but people did them and they applied them. And in some cases, I would argue that you had less of the crime and things like that we have today. I mean,
there were less people.
Like that, so.
Okay, so I have a weird question.
You could do per capita. But go ahead. Yeah.
Well, no, because you can per capita still changes with regard to access, and like I couldn't hop a train at the to get away at the beginning of the founding of the country, right? And I definitely couldn't hop a plane to another country. I could go hide out in the woods, but anyway. Yeah. The question I had to ask is, let's say there's something in the Old Testament that you think is essential and beneficial in modern society, And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that I agree with you that this would be essential and beneficial to modern society. What does that tell us anything at all about whether or not the Bible is true or accurate? Does it tell us anything at all about whether or not there's a divine source for it? Because I've never claimed that the Bible doesn't have some good advice in it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, no. As far as does it prove the divine inspiration of it? I would say in and of itself, no, that fact does not prove the divine inspiration of it. I would go to other avenues. I would go to things that I've just seen absolutely get obliterated on the show. And
then honestly, I'm not interested.
But
I mean, there's a bunch of calls waiting, and I'm not trying to be rude, but if the thing is, let's say you said something that you and I agree on, it's not going to prove that God is real. It's not going to prove the Bible's reliable. And if you say something that you and I don't agree on, then we have no way to move forward because you're basing this on your personal view of theology, and I don't share that. So the only way we can do this is there's a reason why the United States is a secular nation founded on a secular document, is because religions can't agree. We need to have laws that and policies that don't appeal to people's personal religious convictions.
Yeah, I could see that being a true point. I mean, I would just say that there doesn't seem to be, off the top of my head, any other holy book laid down that had laws that would still be applicable today that show such wisdom, that comes from man, because man's views changed back then. Things that could still be applied today. I would say that in some way.
We're also talking about the book that advocated for stoning people, my man. I mean, what wisdom is that? What wisdom is there in stoning somebody to death for not following the laws?
Do you not believe in capital punishment of any kind then? You're anti?
No, and I certainly don't believe in stoning somebody to death is the best way to do that capital punishment. What wisdom is there? Please tell me. Where is the wisdom in that?
Well, then this is the part where I might get laughed off the show, and that's fine. But the wisdom in that was to show the severity of the crime. I mean, you might not agree to that or like that, but at the end of the day, that was the goal of the law, was to show the severity of the sin of the crime, and it was to rid the evil from among you, as the word says, right? So
yeah, picking up sticks on Sunday or having an unruly child, those are severe. Let's kill them.
Well, see, unruly child, Matt, that's a gross misrepresentation of what that means. And we can go into it if you want.
Picking up sticks.
Sure
let's say now. I mean, let me just assume that you're correct, and I'm grossly misrepresenting what it says. I'm literally using the language it says, but let's assume. Hang on.
Yep.
Jesus, I'm trying to give you every benefit of the doubt. You can't even let me finish the sentence. Let's assume that you are correct, and I am grossly misrepresenting it, and I have a child. Who is essentially a drug dealing gang member who will not listen to me and keeps violating the law. Should we kill him?
I mean, in those times, yeah, that would have been the procedure. Yeah.
No, I'm saying, should we kill him now?
No, I think that's one of those.
Why was it right then? Why was it right then and not right now?
It's something that changed. It was right then because that's what God commanded, and it changed because we are told to deal with certain things like that differently now based on.
Okay, how about this? Dip the live bird in the blood of the dead one. No, I'm sorry, that's the wrong thing. Where is that? I'm trying to find the verse of, where I'm talking about, Matt. I mean, using bird's blood for ceremonies and sacrifices. I mean, not
cure for leprosy.
The cure for leprosy. Thank you. That's what I was trying to. Do we want to use bird's blood in curing leprosy?
Cure for leprosy? No, that's not a cure for leprosy. The Levites were also the doctors of that time, and so you were paying them with the bird. They were eating the meat, and that was their payment in order to be the constant priests and doctors of the time. That literally is how that should be, maybe not translated, but that is the understanding that needs to be had when you're talking about that. It wasn't using blood to cure leprosy.
Why are we using that? Why is bird's blood need to be involved in the process? How is that helping the situation?
The Levites?
Yes.
It was just the payment. Yeah, it was just
no.
The bird's body.
So here we
just the payment and the blood as a result.
So Leviticus 14 is where this is coming from.
Yeah, thank you.
And the priest shall order that one of the birds be killed over fresh water in a clay pot. He's then to take the live bird, dip it together with the cedar wood, the scarlet yarn, and the hyssop into the blood of the bird that was killed over the fresh water. 7 times shall he sprinkle the one to be cleansed of the defiling disease, and then pronounce them clean. That's not a payment. It's blood magic, and it's right there in your book.
That's a pain. Okay, so that is one that I wasn't thinking of when you said that. So in that aspect, there's an argument to be made that hyssop and the scarlet and things of that nature actually had healing properties, and it was a healing thing. It wasn't blood magic as
so basically you're opposed to blood magic. You're opposed to this notion of blood magic until all of a sudden you're cornered into what it actually says, and now you think that this blood magic used to work. But so if I followed this procedure now, does it not work anymore? And by the way, what kind of cleansings does it do?
I don't know. You would have to see the healing properties of hyssop and all those things, mixed together. Maybe there is some way where it actually has a natural.
Are you really giving this the benefit of the doubt because it's in your own book? If you read this in another book, would you really give it this benefit of the doubt?
I mean,
really?
At the end of the day, I didn't believe it at first when I first read it, but after coming to the conviction that it was true, I started to realize that it is true. And there's lots of scholars that.
Well, Jacob, I'll tell you what, go to a scientist or go to your local university professor and go ahead and try this, and we can see if this works or not. Because quite frankly, what are we doing? Like
if you're going to sit here and make a case for blood magic and Old Testament stuff, it's not going to get us anywhere, because in the thousands of years since this was written, or hundreds of years since it was written, depending on which version you're going to read, surely somebody who gave a damn could test and show that this blood magic is real. Now, in Leviticus 14, before anybody emails in about it, this is not the one that is necessarily the blood magic part doesn't necessarily cure the disease. It can make one ceremonially clean. And that's why I call it blood magic, because the person must wash their clothes, shave their hair, bathe with this water, and then they're ceremonially clean, and then they come into the camp. But this notion.
Yeah, I wouldn't even put that into it. I wouldn't hold you to that because I don't know that it says ceremonially clean. So if someone will, that's fine.
I just read it.
You were fair, but I wouldn't. Yeah,
I literally just read it.
Yeah, but I'm saying it could also have healing properties.
Well, no, you don't know that it could. You do not know that it could. You do not know that it could also have healing properties. You're just trying to say, hey, you haven't proved that it doesn't yet.
Well, isn't that true, though?
Yes, it's true. Does it matter? Does it matter whether or not I've disproved it? The time to believe it is after it's been proven. Why has nobody in the entire history of the world demonstrated the truth of this thing in the Bible that makes you guys look like you're nuts?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day,
why haven't you done it?
The theological discussion I was saying.
No, it's not a theological discussion. It's straight up science. Why haven't you done it?
If I'm not going to be allowed to finish, I mean, that's okay. It's your show. But I mean, what I'm saying is it's part of the theological discussion because the Levitical priesthood.
It's not a theological discussion.
And so, well, it is, though.
It's not. I don't care how many times you say it. It's a science-based thing. Either this process is effective for cleansing a disease or it's not. It's not a theological discussion.
Oh, on that aspect, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yes.
On that aspect, I don't know why someone hasn't done it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jacob,
why haven't you? Is it because you don't care about the truth?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Right. No, it's not because I don't.
I got to move on. We're about out of time. I want to try and get to another call.
Just one more thing to say on that. The thing is, if we keep trying to justify these older books and say, look how great some of this wisdom is, look how great all this stuff is, look how true this was, we are also importing the prejudices and the awful things that come with it. Like that's a package deal. It's the reason why my gay friends couldn't adopt somebody if they wanted to, because they're getting denied services because of some law. It's the same reason why my trans friends get the prejudices that they face, because there's a thing in there saying that a man can't dress as a woman, and they'll call them men, and they'll say all these awful things that aren't true. And it's just, we don't have to justify it. We can just get rid of it.
Yeah. It's funny because if I recall correctly, that call started out with him saying this isn't cherry picking. And yet it is.
Yeah, it is. It's, I don't know. It's bad. It just don't deal with it. We can make a secular society with all the good stuff without all the bad stuff. You don't have to take it as a package.